So, the second installment in this list of Grateful Dead tutorials is Fire on the Mountain, which easily enough only has two chords. It's a B major down to an A major, but it becomes a little bit more complex with soloing techniques and trying to understand some of Jerry's complex licks that he used to play over the song. So, just like my previous video on Althea, the way that this will go is in a few different parts. The first being the rhythm, which, like I said, was just that B to the A major. Then I'll play that intro lick that they used to do sometimes. And then finally I'll round it out with some soloing techniques, and I'll go through how I would approach soloing over this song. So first off is the rhythm. As I've now said for a third time, this is just B major to A major. And you can do that obviously in a few different places. So the first place you can do it is with this B major bar chord right here, down to this A major. So technically the same shape, but you're just moving up 2 frets, back down to the A. So. Like that. Another way that you can do it, which is the way that I like to do it because you get those higher notes out of the chord, is with this E shape up here. So you're on the 7th fret, you're making E with these 3 fingers, and then just barring across that whole 7th fret for the B major, and then for the A major, you just move it down 2 frets. So it sounds a little bit more like this. So one thing that I like to think about when playing this rhythm and playing rhythm over most other Grateful Dead songs is how my right hand should always be moving back and forth and back and forth. And I say this to all of my students a little bit too much maybe, but it is really important in my mind, because then what you can do once you have this moving and you don't really have to think about it anymore is you can just come up with the rhythm in your head. So all I think is boom, 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 da boom, 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 da boom. Like that. So next up is this little lick that I was playing at the beginning. So what they're doing here is, if you look at this chord shape right here, Jerry's basically breaking it apart and playing it note by note, and then adding in this 4th right here. So it'll start on the 7th fret of the B string, and then you'll play the 9th fret of the G string, and then the 8th fret of the G string, and then you'll kind of round out that little part of the lick with the 9th fret of the D string. So, and then you'll make your way back up, and then you'll go back down to the 9th fret, then the 8th fret of the G string, and then end on this 6th fret of the G string, which is then moving into that A major chord shape. So. So, finally, is the soloing over this song, which is, as I said before, could be seen as easy because you're only playing over 2 chords, but I personally think that complicates things a little bit because you have so much space to work with. So, just like I said in my previous video too, what I like to think about here is chord tones. So if we just take these 2 shapes that I'm playing with, actually, you can make a little bit of a solo out of it. So. Like that. But further than that, what you can do is play with a few different chord shapes. So, for example, with my background of the cage system, I know that this C shape of the B major chord is right here, and the A major chord is right here. So now what I can do is play with two different shapes. I can do a B here or here, and I can do an A here or here. And so soloing, it would sound more like... Now, one last thing that I'll say on soloing, because I think for the rest of it, it's really important to just practice switching between different chord shapes that come from the cage system. So I could show you that there's a B here, and an A there, a B here, and an A there, whatever. B here, anyway, so on and so forth. One last thing that I'll say is that I think it's important on this song, if you want to try to sort of emulate Jerry's style, is to play with chromatics between the root notes of the B and the A major. So in context, that could sound like if the root is right here for the B on the 12th fret of the B string, and then the A is the 10th fret of the B string, it would sound like this.